What's up, everybody? It's your favorite possible upgrades favorite nerd, and today we are looking at the Transbots Ron, which is their take on Ironhide and on loan to me from Jisk 1. And Jordan is quite cool, you see, because he arranged a deal with Agabus where they sent it directly to me, so I appreciate both of them and bringing this review to you, as I'm sure you do. I know guys are kind of chomping at the bit on my opinion on this, so I'm going to give it, but in order to give it, we got to get the review done, and in order to get the review done, we got to get to accessories. So to start off with, he has plenty of head and face options. We have the all red look with the yellow eyes, and the glossy red paint on the face looks great. That goes for the same with the white eyes. And then you have three different expressions, one slightly concerned, one super concerned, and then another stoic option. That stoic option has a bit more defined lips, in my opinion, and maybe even a thinner nose. So it's going to come down to a lot of preference here, but at least you have the options. He comes with two fire blasting hands. They're just hands straightforward. You can remove the blast effect, which is just a red translucent plastic, and then have the straight fingers if you'd like. But that's a nice option as well. He comes with a jetpack, chromed out silver, and then the blast effects here. I haven't checked to see if these are removable. They don't appear to be at first pull, but it goes from like a red to an orange, and the chrome is a nice touch. And you have two slots that can be occupied by those chrome bits, and now he has his jetpack in his back. He comes with two guns. They also have a blast effect that is removable, just red translucent, which is a nice touch, and they are chromed out, which is also a nice touch. And he can hold them perfectly fine with a tab that pegs into the palm of his hand in typical Masterpiece fashion. He comes with his flamethrower, at least that's what I believe it is. It's painted silver. We have the two tabs. You know how those work now. The flamethrower obviously can be disconnected from the fuel, and then that tabs into his back, and then the flamethrower wraps around, and you're not going to believe this, pegs into the palm of his hand in typical Masterpiece fashion. He comes with his G1 toy-styled gun with the chromed out deco once again. And once again, he holds it just fine, pegged into the palm of his hand in typical Masterpiece fashion. We have his drill accessory, painted silver here with the chromed out drill bit. And this handle does flip to expose a longer handle with pegs for, guess what? You guessed it, to fit into his hand, pegging into the palm in typical Masterpiece fashion. He comes with this cannon. It's painted silver. It has a peg down here at the bottom that does rotate, and that will peg into kind of his shoulder area here, and then you can adjust it as need be. He has this little Johnny right here. It's got a missile. That missile... Oh, they're crafty. So it is spring-loaded. Let's see if we can't get it to work. All right, hold on. There we go. There's one. Anyway, chromed out here, painted silver, and then you have the antenna here that's also chromed out. Now, this can peg into his back there, so to speak. You can also remove the satellite communications disc thing and peg it into his forearm. However, I'm not going to force it because I think it's going to put a strain on the plastic, probably because they didn't account for the paint or the chrome or both. He comes with this here. This is a metal detector. It can be a satellite also. We'll talk about it here in a second. Painted silver. Looks nice enough. This is adjustable, obviously. If you fold the hand up inside of the forearm, then you can use this peg system here to utilize your... Well, I put it on upside down, obviously, because I had a 50-50 shot, and I've never won a 50-50 in my life. But that's how you utilize it. He comes with two pair of skis. They have the blue translucent, they have red paint and white plastic. The white even might be painted as well. Looks good enough. You got pegs underneath the feet, and they can just insert in. Easy for me to say. This might also be a paint issue, but there you go. Not the best, but there's the tabs in the bottom that it's meant to fit in. Then we have the sled. The sled is painted red. We have the yellow paint on there, the blue paint on there. It looks nice enough. This wheel can flip around to the opposite side to be kind of like a tripod of sorts. and it can store all the accessories, which I'll show you right here. And I'm sure you can get all this stuff on there, but there's plenty of little pegs and such. The only thing is, like, there's a couple of them, like this peg here, you know, you would think would be good for that gun, but like I can't necessarily get it to connect. You know, so I'm not sure if all the tolerances are right, but I think for most of the stuff that people would want to use this for, you know, you're going to be perfectly fine. So yeah, there it is, well enough. And I mean, I just did the heads and stuff on the side to be goofy, but you can store it. And there's little ones underneath, and you know, like there's all sorts of stuff that you can do in order to store this stuff if you so desire. And let's get in tight on the head sculpt for Dennis. So we have this metallic red paint. It's flecked. It's not the best metallic red paint that I've ever seen. It doesn't present as well as some of the others that I've seen. I think it's because of the glossy nature of it. But even still, the silver on the face looks great. I'm not sure how accurate it is, but it looks great. And the blue on the eyes looks superb as well. The neck is on a ball peg, which means it's very limited articulation for the head. So limited up, limited down, you get the swivel, you get a little bit of a confused Ironhide face. Let's move on to the torso. So the torso does have a swivel. It is very tight, but it is there. There's going to be a question about the ab crunch here. So technically, there is an ab crunch. However, I'm not sure if I'm comfortable calling it as such. It feels more so just like a transformation joint and less like an actual working ab crunch. It makes the whole thing feel a little jittery. I especially don't like the movement there. So I'm not sure. I'll let you call it. I'm not sure how comfortable I am calling it. It's tricky. As for the torso itself, I'm not crazy about the aesthetic. The torso, I don't know why everybody screws the pooch here, but they just missed the mark in my opinion. This looks unfinished to me. This looks unfinished to me. This looks too plain to me. They're going for cartoon accuracy here, I get it, but from my aesthetic preference, I just don't think it looks good. That's not a, you know, like a praise of the Takara. Sometimes people think that one means the other. It's not. It's just that, like, you know, you had the opportunity now to fix it, and I don't feel like you did. Shoulders, we have silver paint, looks great. Ratcheted joint all the way up, which is nice to see. You get a swivel around, and there is a butterfly joint. It's right here. I was trying to pull. It was a stuck in spot, but it's right there. Bicep swivel. As far as I can tell, a single hinged elbow. Now, there is a little bit of movement here at the bicep because the bicep is actually, like, it feels like it's on a ball peg. So there is a little bit of movement there, but it is minor. So we have a wrist swivel. The wrists are also on a hinge. The fingers are on a base pen knuckle, and the index finger is articulated independently with a secondary hinge. The thumb is also individually articulated on a hinge and then comes out to a double pinned joint here. So you get plenty of movement on the thumb as well. Let's back out, look at the whole figure. So you have hip skirts. The silver is painted nicely, very nicely. We have ratchets here, not out to the side, but to get you out to there. So more than you would ever need. Forward and back to there for basically the full Monty. I say we give it to him. Thigh swivel at the universal joint, which is fine. The knees here, you have to, like, open this piece up, and then you kind of get the use of the double joint that gets you past 90 degrees, which is ultimately okay, I think. And limited sculpt work, so not much to talk about there. Ankles, you get a tilt up, slight, a tilt down, and a rocker. So that's all done well. Minimal sculpt work, so there's not a whole lot to talk about. The majority of this piece that needed good sculpt work is on the head and on the torso, and I'm not sure they got that 100% right. There he is from the back. So, very clean. He does have that going for him. Let's look at him next to the masterpiece. So there it is next to the Takara. And I'll be honest with you, I am not crazy about either I don't know if either of them got it quite right. And for different reasons at different portions, and there's things I like better about the X-Transbots, and there's a few things I like better about the Takara as well. But both of them feel like a swing and a miss to me. Oh well, let's get them transformed. Here goes nothing. So, open this. You gotta put the hands in, and you want them to form like a triangle. It's still not the best, but that'll go. Open, and you want them to form a triangle. Still not the best, but it'll go. All right. Then you want to collapse the forearms, and then you want to, you want to have these, I think, facing back like this. And that's the same for both sides. And then you have this piece here. That flips open. You can do that on both sides. And then untab this whole section and flip it up. On both sides. This is what's jamming me up. Make sure that's untabbed. I didn't untab this one, but it came, so to speak, which is actually nice because it's kind of a pain to get these anyway, so maybe that will help, honestly. And then make sure this one little on-re tab there is undone. Okay. So you can bring this out, and you can rotate these out on both sides. And then this, so much needs to twist here. And I'm just trying to make sure that I have it. Where is it? There it is. All right, so this needs to twist. You just got to make sure that you got this stuff out of the way. God, and it feels so awful. Ugh, gross. It just feels like it feels like it's been waiting all day to break. I don't even know if I did that right. Yeah, I think that's right. And then spin the chest plate. These you can kind of just tuck like this for the time being. And then you want to spin this whole top section as well. And once again, you're going to bump in to clearance issues. Whew. All right. Now that I've done that, let me calm down a bit. Now let's do a little leg work. So open this flap up. You've got to get this double hinge here facing, like laying flat forward so that the thigh sort of slightly collapses inside, and then you can close it back up. It's all in this top joint there. There. Then you can take these pieces, open them up and spin them around, collapse that one piece, open them up, spin them around, collapse that one piece. These side panels will flip out, and they're on a double hinge. Get them as low as you can to give yourself as much clearance for this section that you have to open up, and then spin that wheel. Oh, I'm meant to think, get your money on the mountain now, make my day. Spin that wheel. Open it up. Oh, might need a spudger. Might need a spudger with a flatter. I need to get some new spudgers. There. Whew. Okay. I'll spin the wheel. Close that up. All right, bring this piece up. It tabs into the back of the foot. And then this piece comes down over top of the toes. And then you use these side panels here. There's a tab here that goes there and a peg here that goes there. And that will make sure that you've got it lined up appropriately. And I will get that off camera if need be. There's one. Let me see if I can't get this other one. There's the other. All right. And then you have to collapse the thighs in. And then peg all of the rear of the van together. And then we can flip up. Actually, we got to make sure that this is rotated properly. So this whole section needs to come over. There. So that it's, you know, facing the right way as a van. It's a little, I remember that part I messed up when I was spinning it. I was like, I don't know if I spinned all this stuff properly. That was it. All right, and then here on the back, you flip up this piece and then angle in those two side pieces. Let's get this bumper cleaned up. So we want to make sure that we have the more realistic front. Facing forward. Why is this not working? What is it? Oh, there we go. Same for this side. There. And then these pieces come out and you have a bumper here. It's on a ball peg. And then this piece rotates up and then over. It's just such a disaster. Okay, so same there. Up and over. This pegs into the bottom. Goodness gracious. There's one. Good night. All right, here's the other one. Okay. And then that pegs in to it, and now you have the front bumper done. Whew. Let's do, we can do one more thing. We can bring these arms around to the back, make sure the head is straight. And these arms, You can slide in these side panels here, and then the arms will connect. And then this will sit down. The front tabs in. Look at all this mess, dude. Let me refix it. Then we have this rear piece here. Flip that down. And then you gotta flip these around to finish off the kind of aesthetic. You have these panels. They flip out. They flip down. They flip out. They flip down. And then they come around and just tab in everywhere. So we'll just try to get it going. And I'm not gonna, you know me, I'm not gonna waste too much of your time with this. You can figure out how to tab stuff in. It's just to show you how to do it. So yeah, get this piece in the same way I did this one, and then this piece comes down and cleans up the back, and then, you know, I'll clean it up and we'll take a look at it. And there it is. And I do really like the alt mode. I do think they captured something about it that I don't think anybody else has. It feels very much like the cartoon, but it also feels real worldy enough. That's kind of like what I like about Masterpiece when they do it. Right there it is next to Tiger Tracks. It rolls like a champ on rubber tires, chrome wheels. The yellow stripe is pretty good. The blue paint on the windows, I think, works. You got the silver that comes through the gunmetal up on top. You know, there's a lot of like panel lines and stuff, but I do think it's effective. Like because it's basically the whole van is just kept inside of the torso, which is impressive. It's just if it was a little bit smoother to get there, I don't think it would bother me as much. It's just kind of clumsy in order to get there. I like the windshield wipers. I do wonder if you can keep this chest in robot mode with the windshield wipers on it. Like it has a little bit more definition in the line work. And I do wonder if I would like that more, but I'm not sure that these side pieces will line up with it. So I might try it, but I'm not sure it will work. The chrome bumper looks good. All that works nicely. You know, it's just the process to getting there. It's very X-Transbots. And due to like the ricketiness of the connection between the upper body and the lower body, it feels stressful at times. It feels like you're putting a lot of stress on it. So I definitely advise like transforming this with caution. I made it through this one. Obviously I got one more to go before I'm out of the woods, but I do worry. I do worry an awful lot about it. 80s babies, we're in here. Final thoughts wise, let's start with the negative. My biggest issues with this guy have to do with the head and torso. I'm not crazy about the head sculpt, nor am I crazy about the head articulation. It's pretty limited. The torso tried to fix the Takara issues and somehow still missed the mark. Add on top of that the slightly wobbly nature of the connection point between the torso and the pelvis. The ab crunch is kind of a sketchy point of articulation. I'm not sure if I entirely consider it to be one. Wish we could have got more knee. Wish we could have got more elbow. And actually, as I was posing the figure, I wish we could have got more ankles as well. There's a few tolerance issues here and there. I think mainly for not accounting for the chrome versus paint. You know, and then you got the typical X-Transbot stuff of having to move pieces past one another and feel like you're pushing and rubbing and pulling against plastic, along with putting undue stress specifically on that waist connection. It's a sloppy, clumsy transformation. It feels like they're trying to do too much. I actually wonder if they would have been more effective in like taking a G1 toy approach, if the sled would have been a parts forming piece to make up the back of the truck and they just dealt with the robot, if that would have been more successful with kind of their track record. You know, I think they would have caught a little bit of you know, criticism for it being parts forming, but I think what you would have made up for aesthetically and experience wise in terms of the transformation would have more than made up for it. Moving on to the positives, it's fully painted and looks great for it. I think everything besides the torso and head looks fantastic. I love all the accessories, the amount of options that they give you to display it. I think that all works nicely. And I love how they kind of can be incorporated into the sled as well. The materials feel good. There's die cast on them. And a lot of the articulation works just fine, to include hypermobile shoulders, hands, and wrists. And I love the alt mode. I think the alt mode looks tremendous. It's my favorite thing about it. I think it's extremely successful. I think people that are like doing an alt mode and a robot mode, I think that this is probably the clear choice for an alt mode, in all honesty. I think it works really, really, really nicely. And a lot of the finishing touches are kind of smooth to get there, but some of the stuff in the beginning is a little rocky. So I don't know. It's a soft recommend. There's enough good here to recommend it, but it is not a knockout by any stretch of the imagination. And I do advise you use caution with anything related to the torso, where the torso or the upper body connects to the lower body. Hope that helps. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.